We welcome you all to our new training platform. The title of this training segment is 10 for 10. So the idea here is that we're going to start publishing these 10-minute training sessions where we discuss kind of hot topics in the industry. So today's topic, as you all are aware, is refinancing a 7A into a 504, tricks and best practices. A few housekeeping items before we get going. Just so you all know, current SBA turn times at the center are about 2 to 4 business days, depending on if the loan is a small in size ALP Express loan or a larger debenture size. I want to make you all aware of our summer party. It's July 20th. It's being held at Cowabunga Bay, July 20th, 6:30 p.m. Cowabunga Bay is located in Draper, Utah, and we've rented out the space, so it'll just be those friends and family of Mountain West Small Business Finance. So you should have a registration RSVP email that you've received from our marketing department and Olivia. If you have not received that, please reach out to us. And we'll get you registered. Love to have you there. It's a great time. We did it for our first time last summer. At the end of this presentation, we will send it out to all those participants to share the slide deck, as well as it is also being recorded. For the future, for these 10 for 10s, we will also be publishing these on LinkedIn as well, so you'll be able to register there. So moving now on to our topic of conversation, 7A refinance tips and tricks. Curtis Singleton, one of our loan officers, will be presenting this to us, and turn the time over to Curtis. I'll also be monitoring the question and answer box as well as any chat features. So I'll either respond to those in live time over that chat or Q&A, or we might pop in and ask Curtis some questions at the middle and near the end. So Curtis, with that, take it away.
Sounds good. Thanks, Danny. So I've set my clock here, so I'm going to try and keep it as close to 10 minutes as possible. This is a pretty complex topic, and we're going to try and cover it as quickly as possible. Important thing is we kind of created this slide deck to be useful for you, so you can refer to it as needed, whether you're doing a call with a borrower, or you've got, something you're considering. This should hopefully be a good guide for you. And as always, reach out to us, reach out to your Mountain West loan officer to get clarification on any of these situations. So today what we're going to cover is the basics of refinancing, scenarios where the tool is useful, any SBA requirements, what documents you should plan on collecting, how to complete a sources and uses, and then any best practices and suggestions. Okay, so the basics. Yes, borrowers can refinance existing 7A into 504 loans and even potentially get cash out for eligible business expenses. The debts must have been used to acquire eligible fixed assets. So basically real estate or capital equipment, anything you would normally do in a 504. If you are not doing cash out and it's a refi, you can do up to 90% LTV. If you are doing cash out, it is limited to 85% with the cash out amount not to exceed 20% of the appraised value. We can help with that. So what we do in that cash out is we call it eligible business expenses. We don't actually call it cash out when we send it to SBA. So what are eligible business expenses? They are basically working capital, accrued expenses such as salary, rent, utilities, inventory, any other expenses that are not capital expenditures. We can give the borrowers cash out for that. We can help you figure out how to handle EBE if they're looking for cash out. So if you've got scenarios that, are unique, but they want to get cash out, please let us know. We can be creative with this. Okay, so when is a 7A refi useful? These are the most common scenarios you'll run into. Business can't qualify conventionally, whether it's due to LTV or other issues such as weak cash flow. Borrowers have used a variable 7A loan to purchase their building, but now their rate and payments have continued to increase. That's the most common one right now. If they have equity in their building, they want to pull cash out, but your bank or credit union just can't get comfortable with it. Or maybe you have an outstanding 7A loan on your books that wants to improve their terms and you're worried about losing them. You don't want the deal to go anywhere. you can refinance that into a 504, assuming that you've sold the guarantee on the secondary market. And as most of you 7(a) lenders will know, loans that were originally priced to sell the guaranteed portion are usually variable rates, fully variable, and can be priced as high as prime plus 275, which is putting you at 11% today. Okay, so SBA requirements. I'm going to do some explanations for some of these because they need a little bit of explanation. But for now, this is kind of the list of the requirements. They've got to meet an 8515 test. The current lender must be unwilling and unable to modify. The refinance has to provide a substantial benefit to the business. Business has got to be compliant with any SBA loans they've got, including the loan we're refinancing. Loan was for the benefit of the small business seeking financing. Loan's got to be 6 months old, secured by ineligible fixed assets. The business must have been in operation for 2 years, and all original collateral and guarantors must be included unless it was taken as an abundance of caution. So, okay, so what's the 8515 test? 85% of the original 7(a) loan proceeds had to have been used for 504 eligible purposes. So, for example, on $1 million loan, $850,000 would have had to go to real estate or other fixed assets. No more than 150 could have been used for working capital or other miscellaneous non-504. Maybe they bought a car with it or something. So in this case, an $850,000 portion of the loan was used for real estate, and that would meet 8515. So to document it, or really what you want to get, I can't stress enough the importance of getting a copy of the original 7(a) authorization. That will tell us so much. Who was signed on the loan, all the other details that you'll want to know, including how the funds were used on that original loan. The unfortunate truth is that if it doesn't meet 8515, we can't put it into a 504. We've tried workarounds. There's no clever workarounds, and begging and crying don't seem to work either. So SBA, this is firm, hard, and fast. Okay, so how do I determine that a lender's unwilling or unable? The current lender's got to put in writing that they're unwilling. A lender that sold the guarantee on the secondary market typically is unable to modify terms, so their hands may be tied. You can refinance a 7(a) loan in your own portfolio. However, you have to have sold the guarantee on the secondary market. This is one a lot of people worry about, so I thought I'd include an example of an unwilling, unable email that worked for me on a recent loan approval. So basically what had happened is the borrower reached out to their bank and just said, has the loan been sold on the secondary market? Are you able to make modifications? And you can see, it's a pretty bare bones email. And Sacramento SBA did accept this as an unwilling, unable verification. So how do you determine substantial benefit? The only way to determine substantial benefit when refining a 7(a) into a 504 is to get a 10% payment improvement. So I put a little scenario down here. You all know how to calculate that on your own, but I thought I'd put it in there anyways. So if you can improve the payment by 10%, then you've met the substantial benefit test. So how do you determine that a borrower is compliant on their outstanding SBA loans? On this one, I honestly would suggest that you reach out to us for that. We can help locate outstanding SBA loans and work with the borrower, ask specific questions. But some of the things you'll want to consider is occupancy, EPC, OC requirements, like not overpaying on lease payments and such, borrower any sort of technical default on any of their loans, and have they been paying their loans timely? If a loan has been past due in the prior 12 months, that doesn't necessarily preclude the borrower from doing this refinance, but there's got to be a good reason. It used to be a hard and fast rule, like you couldn't do it, but now you can. You just have to have a good reason for it. Okay, so some other explanations that I wanted to go over here. Loan is for the benefit of the small business. This is a unique one. And what basically this really means is if the original loan was made to business A, the new loan, the refinance has to be made to business A. You can't try and bring another entity in or do any sort of adjusting that way. I thought it was important to note that original collateral and guarantors need to be included in the new 504 loan unless taken as an abundance of caution. So, for example, a borrower on a lot of 7(a) loans, they're undersecured when they go into them. And maybe they decided to fully secure it with a lien on their home. That can be released when we do a 504 loan, assuming all the numbers work out and it was taken as an abundance of caution. I had a scenario where a husband and wife were 50-50 owners. They got the 7A loan, bought a building, then they got divorced. The wife did not have to sign on the 504 refi. Then I have a couple other scenarios in here as well. Okay, so documents to collect. You got the usuals, full financial package, our application and personal history forms, third-party reports, appraisal and environmental. If there is equipment in it, we do need to get used equipment appraisal. Refinance specific items on the loans we're paying off that we need to collect, we would want signed closing docs, promissory note, deed of trust, disbursement request, any of that fun stuff. The final SBA authorization, again, the most important document to collect early on. We'll also need a 12-month payment history, a payoff statement, and the unwilling, unable email or letter. So sources and uses, project costs always equal the appraised value. So your project cost, you'll have your refinance amount, any cash out for EBE. Then if you've got closing fees, then whatever the difference is between that and the appraised value would be your equity. So I'll show a couple of examples here. Loan amounts, borrower injection equity is always equal to whatever equity they have in the property. CDC portion in all cases can never be more than 40%, and we can't be more than you. But assuming those things are met, we can kind of split the debt however. So for example, on this one, we've got a refinance 7A loan, no cash out, appraised value of $1 million. The payoff of the 7A loan was $750. The closing fees were $25,000. Then we've got land and building equity at $225, which is obviously the difference of the $750 plus the $25 minus the appraised value. So that $225 then carries down into the equity line item here, showing the borrower at 23% equity injection. And then we've got the bank and the SBA split at 39% each. Totally fine. We don't have to follow any sort of 50-40-10 type rule, assuming that the borrower injection is enough that we could split it. So this one's the same thing, except for I did cash out. Another just little example here with cash out and how we could split the debt as well. Okay, so some best practices. Honestly, the best one is to get us involved early. Call your loan officer, get us involved in those initial conversations to make sure you've got it structured right. They can be finicky, but we're pretty comfortable with them now and feel really good about getting them done, so we can help put you in the right direction. Getting questions asked to meet the 85-15 test. That's where most deals get hung up because a lot of 7A loans will do a variety of things, and so they may not meet that. So you'll want to make sure that you're not spending too much time trying to drop it into 504 if it's not there. Get an estimated value and put together a sources and uses, making some assumptions about how that would look. Obviously, reach out to us. We're happy to help with it. And then figure out any collateral or guarantors that we need to do anything extra with. Okay, Danny, I did it in 10 minutes and 52 seconds. Do you have any questions?
I'm very impressed.
I had to talk fast. It was like a podcast.
Yeah, you got like the Micro Machines guy going at it. No questions from any of our participants. Thank you so much, Curtis, for all your help. Just a reminder of our July 20th event. And then also our next 10 for 10 training will also be on July 20th. Right before we all break to go have some fun in the sun at Cowabunga Bay. So thanks again, Curtis, for all your help. Looks like we have one question coming in. Okay, how do you get the original SBA 7A authorization? Most customers won't have them.
Yeah, great question. So I have had success with suggesting they reach out to their bank or credit union and getting a copy of it. They're usually willing to provide that. If it is become impossible to obtain, we can request with the borrower's, they have to sign, the borrower has to sign a authorization to release information to us, and we can request that from SBA, and we can get a copy of how the use of proceeds was done if we cannot get a copy of the authorization. The reason the authorization is so nice is because it'll show what collateral was taken, what borrowers were taken, et cetera. So ideally, we can get a copy, but if we can't, we do have workarounds.
Great. Thank you. Well, we thank you all for your time. Next training will be July 20th, and then please request an RSVP or a registration for our summer party. And as a reminder, the recording of this presentation will be sent out, posted to our YouTube channel to all participants, and they'll also receive a copy of the slides also. One more question coming in from the one and only Keller Soph. Are you willing to work with the borrower's lender to obtain that letter?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been involved with it many times, and oftentimes I'm composing the email and having the borrower provide it to the bank.
Great. Okay, thank you, everybody. Look forward to next time, and we really appreciate all your help and your business also. It's been a great partnership and a friendship, and we hope you feel the same. And please reach out to us if there's anything that we can do better, and let us know any kind of help we can provide. Thanks a lot and have a great rest of your day.